Hello friends, today I'm going to show you how to clean a carb on a RC plane engine, gas carb. This is the technique to cleaning this applies to RC gas planes, RC gas cars, RC gas boats, chainsaw engines, and weed whackers, weed trimmers. So the same technique applies to all of those. Watch the video and enjoy. Okay, so let's get started. Here's your carb. Most of these carbs are practically alike. I mean, the differences between most manufacturers are small. So if it's a two-stroke, small engine, gas engine like you get on the chainsaws, on RC gas planes, RC gas boats, etc., then they're pretty much similar. This one's a Fuhaya brand, that's what it says, Fuhaya, but it's pretty much an identical design to a Walbro carb. So like I said, they're all pretty similar. So what you basically need is Phillips screwdrivers and a carb cleaner. Any will do. Even brake cleaner will work. So let's get started. First off, you open up this screw. You take this off. You take this net off, fiberglass net, and it really gunks up in this filter over here. There's like a screen, and that's where it gunks up the most. You also want to take off the needles. Just a second, I'll be back. You also want to open up your needles to really thoroughly clean out the carb. We're gonna, just to make sure what the settings, just to make sure we return the needles to their settings, to the correct settings that they were set at, we're gonna screw them in and count. That's half a turn, 1 turn, half a turn, 2 turns. Okay, now we unscrew. So on the high speed needle we've got 2 turns. See, I got this marked. I don't know if you could see this on camera, but I marked this as high. I think you won't be able to see this on camera, but I put a marking that says high just so I don't mix up the needles. And we do the same for this carb, for this needle. We screw it in, half a turn, 1 turn, 1.5, 2, unscrew. Now you might think this is a rich setting, but take into account that the prop's airflow blows directly into the carb, which offsets its mixture, which in turn would require the carb to be richer than usual. And I'm planning on coming up with a fix for this, to somehow to block the carb from the prop's airflow. Okay, we got that out. And just making sure, yep, there's an L marking this needle as low. Now you want to blow the carb cleaner in here, just to make sure you blow out any gunk that's in there. And we continue disassembling the carb. You gotta take off any seals, any rubber diaphragms, because they will get damaged by this cleaner. The whole process of cleaning out the carb is not a very hard process, but you've got to be a bit careful. You can make mistakes with this. It's not foolproof, so you could still make mistakes when you take it apart and put it back together. So you gotta be as careful and as diligent as you can. Take this off. Gotta be careful when you take this off. Gonna place the diaphragm aside and take this gasket off too. Okay, now here comes the tricky part. You see, this controls the float, carbs float. You gotta take this off, but when you put it back in, it's not that easy. Can be a bit of a pain in the butt. So you gotta be careful with it. You can use either a Phillips or flathead screwdriver for this screw over here. I'm gonna try to use a flathead screwdriver. Yep. Now you've got to be careful with this part and pull it out. Try to tap it out. If it doesn't want to come off, then you might use a screwdriver to get it out, but you've got to be really gentle. Oh, there it is. There it is in my hand. You can put that aside. Gotta take this out too. Yeah, and you've gotta be careful. Put it aside. As you can see, the jet for the float plunger doesn't look blocked, but you still gotta spray in every orifice and try to get the cleaner in every hole and orifice. We're just gonna move the diaphragms out of the way, just so we don't get any cleaner on them accidentally, because it's a very harsh cleaner and you don't want to damage these parts. Like I said, anything that's got rubber, plastic, you don't want to get this cleaner on it. Okay, now we shake our can. We test it. And we can start cleaning. We can start off with the needles, clean out their holes. Then you can go further, clean out every orifice in here. See how I'm spraying in one end and it's coming straight out the other. It means there's no blockage there. Again, you want to try and get in every orifice and every hole. Looks like we got everything done on this side. Now we can move on to this side. You want to thoroughly spray this screen over here. You want to spray in here too. You want to spray in here. Got some in my face accidentally, so you gotta be careful with this stuff. Okay, now that it's all cleaned up, I suggest that you soak the parts in petrol for a bit just to get the harsh cleaner off, so that you don't damage the membrane or the rubber parts or seals or anything like that. So once you're done with all of that, then you're set to put it all back together. Now, putting it back together is practically the same way as you pulled it all apart. It's not that difficult. The only thing that takes a bit of patience on your part is putting the plunger back together, back in its spot. It takes a bit of time on my part, just with me being patient with it, because it takes a bit of fiddling around. But I mean, eventually you'll get it. It's not that hard, but you've got to be careful with it. Okay, so I got the hard part out of the way, which is putting in the float plunger back in. Now, I'll be honest with you, this isn't really hard, but it isn't really easy. You've got to take your time, and it might take you 5, 6, maybe 10 attempts to get this back in. But you've got to be gentle. Don't bend the spring, don't bend the whole assembly. So you've got to be careful with it and take your time and be gentle with it. Now on to the easy stuff, or let's say easier stuff. Now this membrane isn't perfect, and I've got another membrane, a brand new one, but I mean, I want to put this back in and see how it runs, and if I don't like it, then I might change it out. But if you're in the same position, same situation, then you might as well change it out. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, then this is how it goes back on. And now you've got to put this back on. Now, as I've said, all in all, this isn't a hard process. I would say the hardest process is getting the plunger back on. The float plunger back in and on can be a bit, how should I say? It can be a bit complicated, but not that hard. Gotta tighten these in a crisscross pattern. tighten them. This is just enough. Now the reason most of these carbs gunk up, especially here at this screen, is because of the lack of use of a fuel filter. So if you use an inline fuel filter or a filled fuel filter inside the fuel tank, then you'll avoid most of these problems. And you won't really need to clean up the carb for a long time. This isn't really regular maintenance, it's just maintenance because of the lack of use of a fuel filter. So get yourself a nice fuel filter so you won't have to go through any of these headaches. It's not really a headache, I mean, it's like I said, it's not rocket science. You could just avoid all of this. Making sure there's no debris on this fiberglass gasket. Just having a look through. Yep. And this goes on this way. And this goes on this way. Oh. Take your time and be patient. Gotta have everything lined up correctly. Now it's easier to put this upper gasket on or membrane on. Now, after I clean it all up, it doesn't want to stick. We'll get it done. Not my first time dealing with something that's stubborn. Yep. All tighten up, all button up. Now we've got to put the, just make sure there's no debris here. Look at your markings that you put in. One should have a high mark and one should have a low mark. This one's high. So we put this in the high spot. Let's blow this up one more time. And we put this in here. And this one goes in here. Just make sure you don't cross thread it. Has the finger tighten first. Tighten it all the way. Not too tight. As soon as it stops, back off. Okay, and I had it set at 2 turns, so that's half, that's 1, that's half, that's 2, and I'm gonna do the same here. Other one was also 2. Yep, that's fully seated. That's half, that's 1, that's half, and that's 2. All closed up, buttoned up, cleaned up, and all set. Looks like a nicer carb. Good luck with cleaning your carb. If you have any problems, any questions, any issues, don't hesitate to ask. Thank you for watching my video. Like, subscribe, and comment. Thank you.